You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, we got a couple things both involving the Browns. Involving the Browns quarterback situation, we've got arguably the greatest tight end of all time, I think, Rob Gronkowski, making some pretty eyebrow-raising comments about the quarterback situation with Cleveland. I got to be honest with you. This is starting to float around. And what I mean by this, Joe Flacco being traded to the Cincinnati Bengals is starting to float around. Mike Florio brought it up. Now Rob Gronkowski is bringing it up. You know, something that we have not talked about, you know, Flacco has not performed great this year. But he had a massive connection 2 years ago with Amari Cooper. Okay, Amari Cooper, if you go back and look at his stats, that season, the Joe Flacco playoff run, his stats were off the charts. He had a great year just a couple of years ago. He's out of the league now. He got hurt, and his injury has not rehabbed. Somebody took a look at Amari Cooper, and he didn't make the team. I think he got cut during this offseason. He was one of the guys that I think the Patriots was looking at. May have been a knee injury with Amari, but this Cleveland Browns team does not have those kind of weapons on offense. Look, everybody wants to say Jerry Jeudy's a 1. I think Jerry Jeudy is a good number 2 when you get right down to it. I don't believe he's a number 1 receiver. I never have. By the way, Steve Smith didn't think he was a number 1. Remember, he's a Jag, just another guy, and they got in this heated battle. So I think he's turned out. He had some number 1 like numbers last year, finally, and I sure as hell thought he was going to be a number 1 coming out of Alabama, but it just hadn't worked out that way until last year. But it's clear the Flacco-Jeudy connection, and there's been drops and things of that nature across the board. But you put Joe Flacco with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and I think some people are wondering about that. There's a lot of fire around Russell Wilson and Joe Flacco to the Bengals now. Question is, would they trade him in division? I don't know. Former New England Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski weighed in on the Cleveland's quarterback situation. Gronkowski appeared on Up and Adams' show earlier this week, discussed the situation involving Flacco, Dillon Gabriel, and SHEDEUR Sanders. We all know Gabriel is starting tomorrow. Given the current situation, Gronkowski suggested the Browns move Flacco to another team in need of a veteran quarterback like the Cincinnati Bengals and bump SHEDEUR Sanders up as a number 2 option behind Gabriel. Yeah, but here's the problem. Nobody talks about this. He's running scout team right now. He's getting a lot of reps with scout team, and we'll get to that in just a second because I have an addendum to this where he talks about running the scout team. All right, now he's sharing the load with Bailey Zappi, which is not a great indictment at all. But you go to number 2, you might get 3 to 5 reps in a practice. Your reps disappear. And you got to hold a clipboard and get mental reps as a backup. He needs physical reps right now. Quote, I think Joe Flacco should get traded to like the Cincinnati Bengals. It would give them a boost, said Gronkowski. Their morale would get picked up. They're possibly a playoff team. He's a vet who can do what he needs to do to get the ball to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. But SHEDEUR Sanders, I think, should be the number 2 now if you bench Joe Flacco already this early in the season. Gronkowski's suggestion makes sense if the Browns plan on going all in on their young quarterback. Well, The other reason they may be trying to keep separation is they don't want the SHEDEUR Sanders parade and everything that comes with that to be right on Dillon's back as a start. Because every time Dillon now has a fumble, throws an interception, it's going to turn, social media is going to explode. Told you it ought to be SHEDEUR. Told you it ought to be SHEDEUR. And he's a rookie quarterback. It's going to happen. He's going to have those plays. Whether he turns out to be a 15-year starting quarterback, he's going to turn the ball over. And that's going to put heat on him. So SHEDEUR did make these comments about running the scout team. Despite early season rumors to the contrary, Sanders has been running the scout team for the Browns alongside Bailey Zappi. I don't know to the contrary. That's exactly what we've been hearing. In a recent interview with ESPN's Daniel Afusi, is that right? Afusi? Oh, Afusi? Who knows? Opened up about how he's handling that duty as a professional. Quote, it's concepts. Anytime you're throwing the ball, there's only so many ways you can get to different spots, Sanders said. I just enjoy it, and like I say, that's my game day. It's my game day. That has been a common refrain for Sanders, who spoke in September about getting scout team receivers some good looks in practice. I look at it, I have 6 games a week, you know? I'm so happy rather than just having 1 game a week on the weekends. The scout team receivers, all of us know every day, is game day. I truly believe the receivers we have on the scout team are really explosive. They're really great. They just need an opportunity. I'm thankful I have those guys out there with me whenever I'm out there competing. I got to tell you, I'm going to give SHEDEUR some credit. That is one of the best, most mature responses I've heard the kids say. That's perfect. 6 game days. He's taking it seriously. Okay, good. He should, but with everything else going on that's overshadowed everything, and some of the mess that's been said and now not said, that you cannot do that. That entire silent treatment interview, boy, he's flirting with being out of the league doing things like that. I can tell you right now. Me and John did a video about SHEDEUR yesterday evening over on the big channel, and we talked about the fact that when you combine the Browns with the Giants and then one other team that was in the top 7 that had another bad interview just like the Giants did during the combine, and then the Ravens and the Eagles, he's already alienated. If he doesn't make it with the Browns, he'll have alienated himself from 5 teams. 5 out of 32 teams. Well, how many teams do you think there is in the league? You want to act as professionally as you possibly can, even if you don't like the questions. And look, the Browns really should just limit media availability to him altogether. They won't do it. Jimmy Haslam wants the attention. And that's some clown show shit, too. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.